All right, good afternoon, everyone, and we are live with what will be our final update ahead of this big winter weather system that's making its way into our region tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. I'm sure you've heard just about all you need to hear about this event at this point, which is why this will be our last update. Everything finally kind of coming into agreement with how much of an impact we'll see from this system tomorrow into Wednesday. First things first, a winter storm warning has been issued for most all of our area with the exclusion of Jefferson County. All of our counties, including Williamson, Franklin, and surrounding counties such as Jackson, Union, Perry, Johnson, Pope, Saline, and Hamilton have all been put under a winter storm warning, and Jefferson County is under a winter weather advisory. And we're going to talk about why those areas to our north are under an advisory and not a warning, because we have had a little bit of a shift south in where we think the heaviest snow totals are going to be. So we're going to talk about that here in just a moment. First of all, let's go ahead and talk about the timing of this system. I know that's very important to most people. One thing that we've seen is the latest information coming in is saying that we could see some light snow out ahead of this main event. So that would be primarily overnight tonight, say around 3 or 4 in the morning, and last until about 10 in the morning on Tuesday. Now, I don't think everyone's going to see light snow from this, but many areas could pick up at least an inch, maybe up to 2 inches, in addition to whatever heavy snow falls on Tuesday afternoon. So once again, any areas that see those snow bands set up overnight into tomorrow morning will see an additional 1 to 2 inches on top of whatever falls Tuesday night. So depending on where you live and where that sets up, you might end up waking up tomorrow morning with an inch of snow on the ground before the main event even starts. So that could cause for some slick travel tomorrow morning as well. It just depends where exactly those heavier bands set up. I will say, as of right now, most models in agreement that will probably be around or along Route 13 and south. So that's the primary area that we're looking at right now. But once again, that could set up just about anywhere. It just kind of depends, and it's not something we'll really know until it gets on radar. So keep that in the back of your mind. We could see some slick travel tomorrow morning as well from those heavy snow bands at times. But the heaviest snow begins Tuesday afternoon and into the evening. I put on here about 3 to 4 p.m., but I think the heaviest snow is probably going to be around 7 o'clock to around 2 in the morning, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. I do still have on here potential blizzard conditions. I don't think we're going to see blizzard conditions at this point. That was what I originally had on the graphic from yesterday. I just don't think the winds are going to be quite strong enough. Again, it has to be at least 35 mile per hour wind gust to constitute a blizzard, or at least a blizzard warning. So I don't think we'll see blizzard conditions, but I do think we'll see some very, very gusty winds and some moderate impacts of blowing snow. And then all of this gets out of here by about 5 to 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning. So this is going to be a relatively quick event, mainly an overnight event, so that is some good news there. But those impacts are certainly going to last into Wednesday morning, with snow and travel being the highest impacts. Speaking of when you will be affected, let's talk about will your commute be impacted? I think this graphic is going to be very helpful. I actually just made this last second before we went on here, and I think this is a very helpful graphic when it comes to, I think, the biggest question that most people have is how much of an impact will my commute have? Well, as I mentioned, tomorrow morning we could see some snow bands set up primarily along Route 13. So there would overall be a low impact from that, just around an inch of snow, but that could cause for some slick roadways, especially on our rural roads. Moving into tomorrow afternoon, that's when we might start to see some moderate impacts. I do think if you're traveling around lunchtime tomorrow, that's probably about the best time to travel. But once you get past about 3 o'clock in the afternoon till about 5 o'clock, that's when things will start to deteriorate and we'll start to see moderate impacts. And then after 5 o'clock on Tuesday night is when we will be seeing the major impacts from winter weather. So travel is going to be highly discouraged, highly discouraged on Tuesday night after 5 o'clock. So if you can get wherever you're going by 5 o'clock on Tuesday and stay there for at least 24 hours, maybe longer, depends on how much we get, that would probably be your best bet if you do not have to be out. And yes, we will definitely see, I believe, some cancellations, definitely on Wednesday, possibly some tomorrow as well, depending on how much snow we get. But I do think as far as schools go, most of those schools will probably hold off on making any decisions about tomorrow until early in the morning, when we know exactly where those early snow bands will be setting up. So yes, there's the potential for some cancellations tomorrow, but I think cancellations would be more likely on Wednesday, and then possibly on into Thursday and Friday, depending on how much snow we get. So that's a brief overview, and I'll put that graphic back up again later on in this video, but that's a brief overview of what impacts we can expect. Now, let's go ahead and take a really quickly, at least as of right now, things are pretty quiet out there. This is a live view from our camera over Marion. There is still a little bit of snow on the ground this afternoon, but most of that, especially on the roadways, has melted off from what we saw yesterday. Now, moving into tomorrow, as I said, things are going to change. Now, here's a look at the official accumulation forecast from the National Weather Service. This was published a couple hours ago, and it's a little bit of a change from what we saw this morning. The latest updates this morning actually was pushing that area of yellow, that 8 to 12 inches, far into central Missouri. They've now updated that again and pushed that all the way up to the Mississippi River. So if you or anyone you know lives in southeast Missouri, particularly north of Cape Girardeau, in that area, Farmington, Piedmont, and New Madrid, or excuse me, not New Madrid, areas in Perryville, rather, those are the areas that have the greatest chance of seeing 8 to 12 inches of snow. And then by the time you move on into southern Illinois, say Marion, Anna, Carbondale, those areas, as well as Vienna and down towards Paducah, those areas have the best chance of seeing at least 6 inches of snow, up to 8 inches of snow. Now, it's not out of the question that if some of those heavier snow bands set up further into southern Illinois, that we could see over 8 inches of snow as well. But as of right now, the general consensus is 6 to 8 inches of snow for areas, I will say, south of Illinois 14, rather. Areas south of Illinois 14, which includes DuQuoin, Benton, and into McLeansboro. Most areas south of there in southern Illinois have the best opportunity of seeing 6 to 8 inches of snow. Areas along and north of Illinois 14, that includes a large majority of Perry County, a large majority of Franklin County and Hamilton County, as well as Wayne County. Those areas have the best chance of seeing 4 to 6 inches of snowfall. And then the reasoning that we saw that winter weather advisory only issued for Jefferson County, that's the area that I think will see the least amount of impacts from this storm. Now, don't get me wrong, we will still see impacts in Jefferson County, but the Weather Service currently has the Mount Vernon area around 3 to 4 inches. We're going to see a sharp cutoff in the snowfall totals by the time you go north of Interstate 64. So if you have any travel plans up in St. Louis by the time we get to Wednesday, I think you should be okay, especially if you live in areas in the northern part of southern Illinois. So those areas probably going to end up with about 2 to 3 inches of snow, sharp cutoff. Really, I mean, if you look at that map right there, right along 64. So if you live south of 64, you're going to see some moderate to major impacts from this storm. If you live north of 64, you're going to see lighter impacts from this winter weather system. So that is the reason we have that winter weather advisory currently issued for Jefferson County. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the difference between a watch and a warning. Again, most of our area is under a winter storm warning now, so that means travel will become dangerous, and you're encouraged to delay or adjust your travel plans until conditions improve. Now, here in just a moment, we're going to run through the future radar of what we can expect from this system. I'm going to get that pulled up right now, but in the meantime, I do have that graphic that I just shared regarding the commutes pulled up, so that can hopefully help you out and have a better idea of what you can expect. We're going to work on getting this map pulled up right now for you. There we go. So let's go ahead and take a look at the exact timing for this system. Again, this kind of just helps you visualize what we can expect. So this is tonight. By the time we get to about 9 o'clock, you start to see a little bit of light snow move into the St. Louis metro area, kind of between St. Louis and Springfield. Don't think we're going to see much accumulation from that, and that is not going to impact our area. Now, by the time we get to about 2, 3 in the morning, take a look right around Carbondale. It's wanting to hint at a snow band setting up right along Illinois 13. Now, we have seen a lot of agreement when it comes to this particular area, so that's that additional 1 to 2 inches we were talking about earlier in the video. If we do see those snow bands start to set up and you see that kind of fill in more by the time we get to 5 in the morning, now this would be 5, 6, now 7 a.m., and there you go. So this model now is actually setting this up more across Perry, Franklin, and Jefferson counties. And that's why I said earlier, we really won't know exactly where these heavier bands set up to begin with early in the morning until they actually get on radar. So that's why I'm not expecting any closures or cancellations probably until early in the morning if we do see any delays tomorrow. Now, moving into about 7 or 8 o'clock, we do get a little bit of a break from that snow by the time we get to mid-morning, and then by around lunchtime, we're pretty clear. So this is about 12 o'clock. Nothing much in Southern Illinois yet, but again, that changes pretty drastically by the time we get to 1 o'clock, and especially by the time we move into the evening commute. So this is 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock now. That's when you start to see those heavier bands of snowfall move into Southern Illinois. So you look down by Cape Girardeau, Carbondale, and into Missouri. You see those very dark blues. That is the areas that have the best chance of seeing some very heavy snowfall tomorrow evening into the overnight hours. So if you are living, once again, south of I-64, those are the areas that have the chance of seeing the greatest amount of snowfall. So that heavy snow continues from 5 through about 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, until about, I'd say, 10 or 11 o'clock. Now, that's when the heaviest snow starts to move a little bit further to our south, and we start to just see a generalized moderate amount of snow across the region by the time we move into midnight, and that moderate snow persists till about 2, 3 in the morning. And man, the models really have moved this system out of here pretty quick in comparison to what we saw a couple days ago. They wanted to kind of have it stick around till around 8 o'clock, but you're looking at 6 in the morning right now, and it's pretty much all out of here by that time. So some good news there at least. Now let's go ahead and take a look really quick at the total snowfall forecasted in Southern Illinois. Now this is using the high-resolution rapid refresh model, which is typically the most accurate when it comes to this close that we are to an event. So this is, let me make sure we got the right one here. Yes. So this is for the model ratio. So this includes potential snow ratios as well. We talked a lot about that yesterday, but this is the generalized consensus that this model in particular currently has for our area. So you take a look at that, you see 8 inches in Cape Girardeau, where those darker blues are, say right along Illinois 13 and south. Those are the areas that this model in particular thinks have the greatest opportunity to see over 6 inches of snowfall. I'll zoom in just a little bit so you can see that just a bit better. But see those darker blues and pinks there south of Illinois 13. Those are the areas this model thinks has the best chance of seeing over 6 inches of snowfall. We've seen that fluctuate a little bit. We'll see if that changes at all overnight into the morning. But right now, looking at least 6 inches of snowfall for areas along Illinois 13 and south in Southern Illinois. If you have any questions, be sure to leave those in the comments section. I'm going to go ahead and put up this graphic from the Weather Service, which also shows the projected timing of the main event tomorrow as I scroll through here and see if we have any questions. Let's see. Jamie saying Pope County is already canceled for tomorrow. Thanks for that info, Jamie. We are working on getting a list of school closures up here in just a couple hours or so, so be looking out for that. It doesn't look like we have any other questions so far, so that's a good thing. Hopefully we're covering what you would like to hear. But going into tomorrow, as far as the timing goes, again, this graphic is from the Weather Service. That yellow outline you see, that is the area where we could see those additional snow bands set up ahead of this main event. Again, that's where we could see an additional 1 to 2 inches of snowfall, depending on where those bands set up early tomorrow morning. And then by the time we move into the evening hours, say by about 2 o'clock, that snowfall reaches the Mississippi River, probably moving into along I-57 around 3 or 4 o'clock, and then further into the Ohio and Wabash rivers and into the Evansville area by the time we get to about 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. So that's a generalized timing of what we think will be the onset of this system tomorrow night and into Wednesday morning. So once again, I'm going to put this graphic up one more time, so this hopefully will help all of you out there have a better idea of whether or not your your commute will be impacted on Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, we're looking at low impacts tomorrow morning, moderate impacts for the afternoon commute after lunchtime on Tuesday, major impacts Tuesday night from blowing snow and heavy snowfall, and then high impacts persisting into Wednesday morning and Wednesday afternoon from this system. So if we don't have any other questions, I think that pretty much covers just about everything that we have seen over the past few hours or so. Again, we'll have live coverage of this snow event as we move into tomorrow. And as always, we'll have closings and delays posted up on our Facebook page tonight and for Wednesday and presumably the rest of the week as well, depending on how much snow we get. Just be sure to stay tuned to our Facebook page and website for those updated closings. So until this system makes its way in, again, we'll continue to keep you updated on everything you need to know. If you're looking at travel impacts, gettingaroundillinois.com is a great website to see which roads are being the most impacted by that snowfall. And we'll continue to keep you updated on the latest information as we continue to track this snow system making its way into southern Illinois tomorrow into